Golden Blue Tube here with you, and I've noticed the biggest worries for Mountaineer fans is our offense. And I can understand why, especially our run game. It was terrible last year, and we did not score a lot of points. We went 5-7, and down the stretch we had 2 upsets against Kansas State and TCU. But throughout the season, you did see what head coach Neal Brown was trying to do. Holgorsen, what he liked to do is create big plays, but the problem is he would keep the offense out on the field very quickly, and then the defense would come back on. So the defense was on the field way more than the offense. Our defense got gassed by halftime, so the second half we would lose games, and then during the season, you could tell during the latter half of the season that our defense wore down, and then that's when we went bad. Last year, you saw the opposite. You saw growing throughout the season. You saw our defense getting better. So this year, of course, let me talk about defense real quick. Of course, we still have the Stills brothers, Dante and Darius. Darius, a little bit better than his brother Dante. Not much. He had 31 tackles, 7 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Dante had 14 tackles, 7 sacks, and 1 fumble. So Darius just a little bit better than his brother, but both big time for us. And the Stills brothers is the main reason why I think we beat Florida State, because Florida State's offensive line is horrific. Let's take a look at West Virginia's offense, our key pieces coming back. So for quarterback, last year we had Kendall starting the season and Daggy in the season. Kendall went 118 for 304, throwing for 61.5%, 1,989 yards, 12 touchdowns, but 10 interceptions. He had an issue with throwing interceptions. Dougie, this was over 4 games. 79 for 120, 65.8% completion, 818 yards throwing, 17 TDs, and only 3 interceptions. Yes, fewer games, but you can see the ratio is much wider. The biggest issue that we had was our running. Letty Brown, he averaged 3.4 yards a carry, and Alex Sinkfield averaged 2.4 yards a carry. Then we had our receivers. These are people that are coming back this year, not actual leaders. So our biggest receivers coming back. Sam James, he had 69 receptions for 677 yards, 2 touchdowns, and averaged 9.8 yards per reception. TJ Simmons, 35 receptions for 455 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 13 yards per reception. So the biggest issue that I see with West Virginia fans is our passing game. Don't worry about that. Our passing game will open up. Head coach Neal Brown is focusing on our running game, and that's going to slow the game down, and it's going to keep the defense off the field longer, and that's how we can rely on our defense more. We're going to first down the other team to death. Yes, he'll throw some big plays in there, but right now we need to focus on grinding and out first downing the opponent and scoring whenever we can. Speaking of scoring, the biggest issue as far as getting points besides punching it in the end zone is field goal. Stanley, he was only 64.7%, which sounds pretty good, but you really want your kicker to be in the 75 to 80% range, and his long was only 44. Yes, in 2008 he had a 49-yarder, which is his official career long, but last year his long was 44. So I think we take a big step forward because our offensive line is getting used to the way head coach Neal Brown coaches, and he's recruiting for our offensive line. So we're going to have a much better running game. And that's been West Virginia's bread and butter. Even if you go back to the Rich Rod era, if we can run the ball well, then we can pass the ball well. So that's what we're getting back to, and that's why I have confidence that we're going to have 7 to 8 wins and go to a bowl this coming season. I noticed in the future, he's starting to recruit tight ends. People don't realize how important that could be for West Virginia. There's so many looks you can run out of a tight end look. You can have a block for a run game, or run a short route or a crossing route, and the quarterback can read the defense and call out the play that he thinks the tight end can run, and you want the defense to have to react. You don't want them to know what's coming. You want the defense to have to react, and that's what head coach Neal Brown is thinking with these recruits. So in the future, starting this year, I think, is the transition into having the defense second guess themselves and have no idea what's coming, instead of being able to stop, because you know, let's face it, Holgorsen pretty much knew what was coming, and the opposing team would run 2 deep safeties and linebackers underneath, and then our running game was okay, but our defense wore out, and we were gassed by the end of the season. So I have confidence in this coach. That's all I got for you today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm going to go deeper into depth about this tight end situation because this is a huge deal for West Virginia. I'll see you next video.